There's a lot of ways you can win and lose games, I was really pleased with our kicking game. I think we're really starting to play with some consistency in special teams. The penalties were a push in the game. It was a lot of different things went on in that game penalty wise. We got to continue to work there. Turnovers. We gave up 2 turnovers and we only got 1, and that was important in the game. But there's so many areas where we did really well. Third down, we were 9 of 17. We held them to 3 of 11. Runs and completions, which is amazing stat. We had 70, they had 68. Time of possession, we were at 34. And our explosive plays, we doubled them. So, we had 14 explosive plays. They only had 7. And I just think it's important to remember, there's a lot of different ways you look at the stat sheet and was disappointed that we didn't run the ball better. But we were very effective in that game as far as moving the football in time of possession, controlling the ball, and doubling up their big plays. So I think the thing is that we have to do as a team, and we did this today in our meetings, was show our players we're in a close game like that. The real details really matter. And, as it came out, we were that close, and you hear about it all the time. Difference between winning and losing is just inches, and it really is. And so really just made those points with our players. We didn't belabor it. It's a tough, hard-fought game. Our kids were gutted after that game, and a long bus ride home. Half of our buses got stranded on the mountain on the way home. Didn't get home till early Sunday morning. So, it was a demanding weekend. But like I said, we've got to give Fresno credit. They're a good football team. We got to put that one behind us, and we have already. And we're really, really looking forward to this week. This is an important week, obviously, for us. It's our state championship. We're playing for the Cannon. And we had a great practice this morning. I always have asked Coach Alt to speak to the team this week, and he did an amazing job, and really want to thank and appreciate his contribution to us. I talk to Coach Alt a couple times a week. He comes to practice, and I really appreciate my relationship with him, and appreciate what he's done for us and how he shared the history of this game. I don't think anybody knows it like Coach Alt. And so that was great today. And we put the game plan in last night. We got started on it today. It's a short week. We'll eliminate our Tuesday practice. Tomorrow will be hump day already, and we'll get ready to play on Friday. And for us, I know people want to know how we approach this game and all that. Since I've been to Nevada, really taken it, felt it as a personal responsibility to represent this program and the tradition that it's been represented. To me, Nevada football is about toughness. It's about being physical. It's about sacrificing for your teammates, and playing for this trophy, the Fremont Cannon, is kind of an example of that. It's not something that we do one day a year. It's something that we try to earn the right for every day. And so, being respectful, being accountable in what we do, and hustling and working hard is something that we try to represent for this program. And we are the University of Nevada, and we do try to represent that all over the country. When we go to Cal, when we go to Kansas, when we play Purdue, when we travel all over this great country, we try to represent Nevada that way. So we take it seriously, and we're really excited about the opportunity to play. And, it's like Coach Alt said, you don't get to keep this Cannon, you just get to take care of it while you're here. And we've been able to take care of it this last year, and we're anxious to go play and be able to do it again. And, the important thing to remember about this game, that records don't matter. our first year we won 3 games and we won this game and it made our whole season. Other years we won 8 games and we lost this game and it felt like, we didn't accomplish anything. So you can throw the records out. It really doesn't matter. The simple thing is that we prepare for this game the right way, we respect the opportunity, and we go play the right way. So with that, any questions you guys might have?
You mentioned the Fresno State game being, basically a game of inches. You did make a decision to go for 2 in the third quarter, and then, could have used that point later on.
Yeah.
Can you just walk us through maybe that decision making, and if you had any regrets, toward the end of the game that you had earlier on?
So we use a lot of charts, and what people don't always understand is that the charts aren't the same every week, and 2-point decisions when you're playing Fresno State might be different than when you're playing somebody else because they are such a high-scoring team. And so statistically, the odds lay that if you're going to play a team and it's going to be a high-scoring team in the 30s, you need to go for it at that point. But it's still a decision that you make with your gut and trying to look ahead. I do wish I just would have kicked the extra point, to be honest with you. You're asking me an honest question, and I'm telling you an honest answer. I do wish I would have kicked the extra point at that time. But it is what it is. We knew we were going to have to score a bunch to win that game. And, it came down. We were just that 1-2 points short. So, you live and learn, and it's a really, really prolific team we played against. We knew we were going to have to score a lot of points, and we just came up a little bit short.
Fresno ran the ball maybe a little bit better than you would have expected or people would have expected. UNLV is going to try and run the ball. The run defense just hasn't been quite as strong as past couple of years. Can you pinpoint why there's been a little bit more weakness there than previous years? We have to do a better job with our fits. We're certainly capable of playing the run better, and we had 14 explosive plays. They had 7, but the ones that are killing us are the ones that go for 42 or 55. The one plays that are so big, and they're basic run plays. They're not anything that are overly complicated. So we just have to do a better job on those runs. Just like Hawaii, they had 2 runs that they almost had 180 yards rushing on 2 plays, and those are the kind of plays that we've got to eliminate because it's hurting us. It's just those little details, and it's the front and the linebackers all fitting together and doing their gap responsibility. And so we just have to be better there. We've talked about it. We work on it all the time, and it's just got to show up a little bit more in the game. If you would have told me last week that we would have had 14 explosive plays and they would have had 7 and we would have lost the game, boy, I wouldn't have believed you. And so that's something that we have to understand. And I think the other thing we have to understand, and you can coach a long time and this not happen. I mean, somebody showed me a stat. Carson Strong completed 49 passes out of 61. And it's the first time since 2000 that a quarterback has thrown 60 attempts in a game and completed 80% of them. And so that's pretty amazing. And and then the night Romeo tied the school record with receptions, and those things don't happen very often. I mean, those kids were really in a zone and they were playing at a high level, and and that had something to do with how why we didn't run the ball as much either. I mean, when you got hot guys, man, it's hard not to ride them. And so, they're playing at a very high level. Again, I mean, the last drive, the things that Carson did on that last drive are just, you don't see that very often. I mean, those are amazing plays. And even the last play with Romeo, I mean, he was just out. But to be able to make that play and even make it close is pretty special. And, we scored on the last play. It was a play we practiced for 5 years. We never ran it in the game. we had the situation came up, we ran it, and the kids executed it. So, we played our hearts out. The kids really laid it on the line, and I think the biggest thing we take from this game is just the little details that you have to really execute in a game like that to be able to win it. And I think we will learn from that. It's a really competitive league. There's a lot of good teams in this league, and there's a lot of football left. And so we just have to continue to learn and get better and grow as a team and improve down the stretch. And obviously we have an opportunity this week with a obviously a rivalry game.
Coach, you've been on both sides of this rivalry in terms of wins and losses. Going into it with the cannon already blue as opposed to seeing it red, is there a real difference in feeling going into it with having that cannon already versus trying to get it back?
No, I just think in sports, when you lose, you have a desperation to win, and when you don't have the cannon, you have that. But I think we're a football team. We just lost. We just lost to Fresno State, and we have a real desperation to win. We want to win, and there's nothing like standing in front of your football team and losing and looking at them. And we went in that meeting room today. There's a lot of disappointed guys. I mean, they really are disappointed about that game Saturday night. And but we got to move on. We got to turn the page, and our team will be hungry to play. I don't think the situation really matters as far as who won it last, who lost it last. This is our state championship. The records really don't matter, and and it was beautiful to hear Coach Alt talk about the history, and I was really thankful he did a little PSA deal for this game, and I thought it was amazing him talking about just the history of the game and Mackey Stadium and the magic that it has when you have the fans in there and it's filled up, and how this game really built these programs. I mean, the program was built on this game, and so I think it's important to remember that. And but to get back to your original question, yeah, there's a sense of desperation to get the cannon, and we've experienced it. But we have a desperation to win this Friday, to keep the cannon and to get back on a winning streak.
But you've been a part of a lot of historic rivalries. What makes this one so special for you?
It's the fact that it's the biggest trophy in sports, and it's between a state rival. There's a lot of rivals in football, but two teams that are in the same state that play for a trophy like the Fremont Cannon, it's just unique. It's just unique. It's so heavy. Vi was telling me a story. I every year that we play this, I hear a new story, and Vi was telling a story about how when he was playing, the Union took the barrel off and put it in Kaepernick's locker, and before practice, and how he couldn't open his locker because it's so heavy. If you ever tried to pick that barrel up, it's amazingly heavy, and so Coach Alt found out about it. And they went to practice, and he had the whole team lined up on the sideline, and he said, "You guys better tell me who was messing with that cannon, or we're all going to run." And Vi put his hand up, and he said he did it. He took the bullet for the Union, and I don't think Coach punished him because it was Vi. But there's just so much history with this game, and Coach Alt shared some of that with us, and it's important for our players to know that. It's important for them to understand the history and the ups and downs of this game, but how much it's meant to this program, this university, and this region over the years.
You have a lot of players from the state of Nevada on your team, and I imagine UNLV does as well. What does it mean to you and your team having the game on Nevada Day weekend as opposed to, later in November when it was in the past?
I love playing it on Nevada Day weekend, and I just think it means so much to the state, and it kind of ties it all in together. I would love to see them keep it on this weekend. It's special to have it last too. A lot of traditional rivalries are last, but I just think it's so special for the state to be on Nevada Day weekend. And when I was at Oklahoma 7 years, and then Texas for a year. And the Red River rivalry is always the second weekend in October. Doesn't matter what the date is; it's the second weekend, and you just know it's coming. And I just think that's great to have a date when people in this state know that game's going to be played. It has significance for everybody in the state, and I think it's a perfect time to play it. So, I'm hoping it's something that we can continue.
I know you mentioned just how hungry these guys were today. Do you think the way how everything ended on Saturday will just help them even more so to have a short memory heading into this short week?
Yeah, I think it's exactly right, Shannon. I mean, it was such a gut-wrenching way to lose a game, and just to see our guys do so many amazing things and to fall short. We just got to turn the page, and I really think we have mature guys that understand that now, and in a game like that, your role players, your role players really have to play well and detailed, and I think we had some younger players and some role players that really learned a lot from being in a tight game. When all the things we've been preaching in meetings and emphasizing in practice, we tell them it's going to come up in a big game, and you have to be in this position, and you have to use this technique. And when you don't do that versus a very good team, it's going to show up. And a lot of times guys will know what to do, but doing it with conviction in a big game where you're playing against a quality opponent, it matters. It really does. And so, it's football. Sometimes you get the bull and sometimes you get the horns, and that's what what football is. And people that have played understand it, and you got to give Fresno credit. I mean, they're a good team. They have good players and coaches, and they did a lot of good things, and we just didn't do enough. We did a lot of good things too, but just not enough.
Coach, if you were to take the names off the jerseys and just evaluate, UNLV, and someone showed you 13 games of film and you just evaluated them and they were Team X, would you turn around and say this team had lost 13 straight games, or do they seem better to that than you?
No, I think they show talent, they show physicality, they have playmakers. They just haven't put it all together yet, and we certainly don't want them to figure it out against us, and so, but they're certainly capable. I mean, they've the last 3 weeks they've really played toe to toe with people, and they're within a score of winning a game, and and that's why it's so important to prepare and get ready. We've played these guys in a lot of different circumstances in the time that I've been here, and they've all been different, but they're certainly capable. They're very prideful in wanting to play and win this game, and so we're gonna get the best UNLV team that we've seen in the last 2 years on film. I'm sure of it. I'm certain of it, and that's the thing about it. It's you don't play the team you see on film. You play the team that shows up Saturday night, and you have to prepare that way. If you don't, you're thinking of it wrong. And we got to expect them to play their very best, and we have to be prepared to play our very best, or that's when things happen that you don't want to happen. So we're constantly talking about it and preaching it and preparing our guys to play the game well.
quick follow-up. You mentioned preparation a couple of times. I was wondering if there's any trick to keeping the highs not too high and the lows not too low as you approach a rival. I mean, these are 19-year-old kids.
Yeah.
What have you learned about keeping an even keel?
There's a great, I was really lucky to be around Bill Walsh and hear him speak and talk to him and ask him questions when he was alive. But he wrote a great book called The Score Takes Care of Itself, and his whole philosophy was, he put us emphasis in practice. And so, and I've really tried to do that with our team. I don't want them to feel like they need to get fired up by a speech or by a video or something on Saturday. But I do want them to rely back on the things that they do in practice. And so, and I think that's what you've seen showing up in, you cannot throw the ball 61 times, 80% without working that skill in practice. We practice that so hard. And so we have a skilled group of guys. We really do. And it's all because we work on it in practice. So we try to rely on that. And we really want, when the game's in the balance, we have a sign in our meeting room, when the game's in the balance, focus on the fundamentals and the things we do in practice. And so to answer your question, we just try to keep it like that all the time. And our guys have done a good job of that. And we just got to continue to work and improve. One of the things that we've done since we've been here is we've finished strong. We still have 5 games left, and we need to be a group that continues to practice hard and improve. And so we'll continue to emphasize those things in practice.
Any more questions for Coach?
Just one more for me. I know you got your second personal foul call this year. You're a passionate coach. You obviously care about your players and what's going on the field. I mean, is that something that just is going to come during the game, or is that something that you would personally like to work on, not to put your guys in that?
No, it's nothing that we go into the game planning on doing, Chris. No, it's just, it is what it is. I'm not going to really go into the details of it. Obviously, you never want that to happen. And I've had my disagreements about some of the things that have been called and the way they've called it, and I've had really good discussions with our head of officials in our conference. So I think those guys are trying to do a good job. Sometimes it's unfortunate, I think, when our kids work so hard to do the things the right way. I just think things should be a little bit better. I really do. I think our kids deserve it. And, at times I'm guilty for fighting for our kids. And so it's nothing that I'm proud of or want to see continue, and we'll work hard to make sure that doesn't happen.
Do you have a favorite Fremont Cannon story? You said you kind of hear a new one every year. Have you done anything?
Gosh, I mean, Coach Alt was just telling me, Vi, the one Vi told me was pretty good. I thought that was really good, actually. But Coach Alt was telling me about, I think it was in the mid-'90s, when Coach Horton had left and went down to UNLV, and I think there was a skirmish on the field before the game, and just how the team responded and finished that game and won the big game down there at UNLV down in Vegas. So I love hearing Coach tell those stories, and I just think that's what football's all about is understanding tradition, understanding history, and then trying to go out, and we tell our guys all the time, we do our Wolfpack walk every Friday. This week it'll be Thursday before the game, and we have a lot of our former players talk to the team, and it's important for our players to know that history, and also it's important for our players to understand that these 4 years when you're in college, you get to do something about it. And when you get done with your career, and your kids look up at you, they're going to ask you, what did you do when you played for the Fremont Cannon and when you were at Nevada for your 4 years? And so they get an opportunity to do something about it now.
And you know, you just have to prepare for it and be ready for it, and make the most out of your opportunity.
Coach, on the story you told earlier, was Cap able to practice?
I don't know. I think he needed some help moving that barrel so he could get into his locker, but Vi will have to fill in the details on that one. But that was a good one. I hadn't heard that one. You know, and every year you hear a little something new, and you know, guys getting shot by the cannon, and I mean, it's just all kind of crazy stories. And but it's a fun tradition. It's a great game. You know, there's nothing like a rivalry game, and the passion that goes into it, and the competitive nature of the game. And you know, this one will be no different.
If that's it, thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
I just have one.
Go ahead, Shannon.
I just had one quick one. Last week, talking with Amir, he said that, you know, he really looked up to guys like Corbett and Malik Reed, and just how do you hope that some of these older guys really just shed the importance of what this game does mean? Because it is just a game, but to be able to share to the younger ones who haven't played in it before what it really is all about.
Yeah, we actually encourage our former players to tell those stories, and you know, we invite those guys back for Wolfpack Walk. But this week we've also had a bunch of video messages from former players that kind of talk about the importance of the game. And you know, when guys like Corbett and Joe Bitonio and Malik Reed, all those guys that are in NFL locker rooms, there's a lot of back and forth, you know, on Saturdays when college games are on in an NFL locker room, and you know, guys are wearing their Nevada gear in the locker room, and you know, there's a lot of talk back and forth. And so we want them to be proud of what they see from us when we play. And you know, we send all those guys gear so they can represent. But yeah, it's important, you know, to hear from the Austin Corbetts and the Malik Reeds and the Joe Pitonios and all those guys that have played in this game, and how much it means to them, and how important this game is to them. You know, I think that was the big thing from Coach Alt, you know, today, just how much this game means to so many people in northern Nevada, and the pride that people have in it, and it's important for our guys to hear that. You know, they need to understand that their actions really have an effect on a lot of people, and so you know, and it's important to play a certain way, to represent a certain way, and really to go out and give the type of effort that this game deserves. And so it is important, and we talk about it. You know, we have the cannon around a lot. It's in our meeting room. It shows up a lot of places in the off season. It's in the locker room. It's on the practice field. You know, we're at Nevada. I mean, we practice outside all winter long. We're running in the snow. When Coach Simmons is out there, the cannon shows up. And so it's just a reminder of what we're playing for, what we represent. And, you know, it's a 365-day deal. It's not one day in the fall that we work for.